spectrum is. Actually, I don't have to go over it here. But violet, blue, you see the violet, blue, green, yellow, orange, red. Okay? So that's the spectrum, and it's going down. And then right beside, in the middle, is the pure yellow, which would be the same as the yellow coming the other way. And it's yellow going out in value, so that yellow is 5 parts. The next one is 4 parts yellow, 1 part white, and so on, until you come out here, which would be 4 parts white and 1 part yellow. And what should be out here is the white that goes around the whole thing. So then it would be complete. And the reason for it is, again, pretty straightforward. You're trying to, this doesn't mark very well, so you would try to white. But anyway, it's the oldest part about perspective. But since the lines just go like that, actually it's going to come out just the way I wanted it to. They come out, since the lines go like that, you can read it. You can read it going in or going out. So it's conventional recessional space in almost a perspectival way, or it could be a camera bellows, and it could be coming out towards you. So it doesn't matter too much. But the notion here is that because you have a value system, the yellows going from a full saturation to white, and the spectrum on the other, you get a kind of confounding of how these things where they should be located in space, as they say. But in space is really just what you see. It's really, this location takes place actually on the surface of the canvas. So it's how you approach it, how you look at it. And a lot of people see it going in and out, jumping around, doing this, that, and the other. But I just see it as pretty flat. And I mean, and there's a reason for that, which is the flatter it is, in my time anyway, the more abstract it is. And the fault of all of that is Kandinsky. Or why we got to this point. And it's point, a lot of you know this, but I love writing it. Point to line, wrong already, point and line to plane. So that's why abstraction, or what's called geometrical abstraction, came to be what it is. So, and you all know from your math, or maybe there's some mathematicians here, I better watch my stuff. But anyway, from point to line, from point and line, point and line, point and line. Okay, we finally get a plane. But that's not a big deal in so many obvious ways. And the big part of it is that it's not really true, because the plane is an abstraction, right? So you could say that's how it inevitably becomes abstract art. But the plane has, like everything, has another dimension. The surface always has a dimension. And furthermore, when you work on the surface, you're adding to the dimensionality of the surface. So although the idea is abstract, and flatness became the kind of norm for the art of my time, anyway, it's always been something that's not very satisfying, one way or the other. And we could go on to a reason why it's not satisfying.
Would you like to do that?
Yeah.
So could we have the next?
Change the reason that flatness and abstraction, even at its highest and most eloquent and exalted moments, is not totally satisfying, again, this is only my opinion, is that something's missing. And what's generally missing is not just the human figure, but what the human figure stands for, which is basically vitality and motion. It's alive. And so a depiction of something that's alive resonates. And a depiction, it's a horrible word, but anyway, making a picture of a stone or a block of wood is interesting, but it's not that satisfying. And so what happens is that in this case, you see the model. And what made things difficult for painting was photography. Because once the photograph could take care of, in a certain way, of what you see, it could also give you what the human body really has. So you've got everything there, including the psychological expression on the model's face. But there's everything you want to know about what the representation or what a human being can be as a subject for painting. And so once Cézanne makes the step, and it's a very deliberate step, but I don't know how conscious it was in Cézanne's mind. But from here on in, the depiction of what's out there has to do distinctly with painting itself, with the materiality and with the decision that the artist makes. And all we're going to see from here is that once Cézanne has gone this far, what happens? One last thing. Okay. Picasso takes up on Cézanne, and what you have is Cubism. And Cubism is really exactly what it says, but hardly ever seen that way. And don't laugh. It's a cube. And so once you go from the human figure and the representation of it to an idea that you should represent the human figure in the basic terms of you going from basically a plane geometry. Cézanne is modifying everything with strokes, but he's still doing the modeling and everything, but it's all in the strokes and short, small planes. And once Picasso sees Cézanne and he sees African sculpture, which is completely three-dimensional, it's not even illusionistic, it's just totally and real and simply three-dimensional. So you have the cube, you add the cylinder, and a cone. And that's it, it's over. With those elements, you're able to make the Women of Avignon. And from there are two lines, according to Alfred Barr, and I believe in them anyway. And so you have on one side Mondriaan Malevich and Kandinsky, and they should go the other way. And on the other side, you can imagine Picasso, Matisse, and Miró. So when the Museum of Modern Art forms its collection, it has two basic branches. And on one side, it ends with geometrical abstract art, and on the other side, it ends with non-geometrical abstract art. But you get it, that it's abstract art, whether it's geometrical or not. And the argument is always going to be, what do you mean? It's always going to be a definition both of abstraction and of geometry. And it's very hard, as different as Picasso may be from Malevich's white on white, or as the Women at Avignon may be from white on white, they really share the same thing. That's the modernist impulse, and that's what we're left with.
So when Dorothy Miller acquired your painting for the Museum of Modern Art in 1959, what was the thread that she was following?
Alfred Barr.
Yeah.
No, Alfred told her that he liked the picture.